Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Tonight is a very special call, or tomorrow morning, depending on where you are watching this. It's our 100th episode. So we've been doing this for a little over a couple of years, and I wanted to pick a topic that I think everybody can relate to. We've talked about stress in the past, but it was more adrenal function and adrenal fatigue, and adrenal glands are the last glands standing when we're all stressed out and everything else is shutting down. Tonight's different though. Tonight we're going to be talking about stress and how it affects emotions and how redox is all intricately played into that. I want to begin with just saying a few things. One, the stress that you're feeling is felt literally in every cell of your body, every organ, every tissue. It feels whatever emotion you're feeling. There was a doctor, William Beaumont in Michigan, that is actually the hospital named after him is where I was born. So I was always intrigued. And then when I learned this history of this doctor, it was super exciting. And so he was an emergency room doctor. And in 1955, there was a bar fight down the street, and somebody got stabbed with a pool stick in the stomach. And they were cleaning it up and getting ready to suture it. And then he realized, shining a flashlight in there, that he could see several of the organs, the stomach, the pancreas, the spleen, the liver. And he's like, wow, I've been doing a thesis on emotions are felt everywhere. And you would be a perfect candidate for my study. And he offered to pay him a bunch of money. And so the guy says, all right, go ahead. So they had to put him through a series of a bunch of different emotions. So they made him really angry and upset and sad, and his face turned all purple, and his organs inside turned the same color as his face. And then they made him laugh so hard that his face was bright red and he was crying tears of laughter. And inside, all the organs turned bright red and they were perspiring. And they matched the tears and the tears on the organs, and they were the same chemistry. And then he made them in pain, and the pain face turned a different type of red, and the tears of pain also happened throughout the body, and they matched. And so his thesis was successful, that literally it's not just in your head when you think these thoughts, you're internalizing it, and it's connected to every cell in your body. And we've done other talks saying how your brain literally communicates to all 100 trillion cells, and they communicate back to your brain. Well, we also mentioned that you have a heart brain, which means your heart also communicates to every cell in your body, and they communicate back to the heart. And so with the heart and the brain so intricately connected, when one goes out of whack, it pulls the other one into some kind of chaos as well. And we feel that with all sorts of emotions, and how people can play with us, and we allow them to let us feel this kind of way. So the second thing that I wanted to mention before we get into the show is some advice my dad gave me when I was young. He says, never let anybody get your goat. And I used to scratch my head and be like, what do you mean? We don't have a goat. What do you mean by that? And he's like, well, when you hear something that's stressful, it's important that you don't react, because you only have some of the information. And by the time you get the other side of the story, or the third side of the story, it'll all make sense. And then it either won't be so stressful, or you'll know how to deal with the stress when that actually happens. And so that was really amazing advice. And I have used that so many times throughout my life, where people come in like, you're not going to believe what happened to me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, interesting. And they're like, why are you not like screaming mad and breaking things? And I'm like, I don't have all the facts yet. So I'm not going to let myself feel any kind of way until I get all the facts. And, that makes it a whole lot easier. And so the problem is if I were to react to it the very first time, you're going to learn more a little bit about hormones that we release. And the hormone specifically is cortisol. It's a very stressful hormone. We need it for so many functions, but too much of it runs havoc in your body. So cortisol will make you feel upset and angry where somebody looks at you and they're like, "Oh, Mark, what's wrong?" And I say nothing. And they're like, "Oh, come on. Obviously something's wrong." I'm like, "Yeah," put a smile on my face. "No." And they're like, "Seriously, what is bothering you?" And I'm like, "Nothing." Okay. And it's because earlier something was bothering me. I produced a bunch of this hormone and then we dealt with it and forgave each other or whatever happened. And then I still have to metabolize the hormone. So the half-life of cortisol for women is 4 hours. So if you let somebody really get you angry and you secreted a whole teaspoon of that or a tablespoon of it, let's say, in 4 hours, you got a half a tablespoon. In 4 more hours, you got a quarter tablespoon. In 4 more hours, you got an eighth of a tablespoon. So it literally takes you all day to feel happy and balanced and normal again. Now, ironically, men can metabolize that whole tablespoon in an hour. So we're like, "You're forgiven. What's for dinner?" And like, "Why are you not still upset?" It's like we can get over it a little bit faster. But that's an example of how powerful hormones are and how if you don't learn to have some resilience and pick your battles, it could ruin your whole day. And we've all had days like that where, the stress has been debilitating. So this is an exciting talk that we're going to do because it's all about stress, emotions, and how redox plays a huge role. And as always, I just need to mention that we represent a supplement company called ASEA that has an amazing products, a whole line of amazing products, but the flagship product is redox signaling molecules. So we're not going to be talking about how to diagnose or cure or treat anything. Only drugs can be treating conditions. So we're going to leave conditions out of it. We're going to teach you how your body makes these exact molecules to deal with stress. So when the more we learn how our body functions, then we realize certain supplements can add to that whole process and help it function faster, more efficiently, and more appropriately. So when we talk about this word stress, everybody has stress. You're supposed to have a little bit of stress. It makes you motivated to get things done and do things and change things specifically. But a lot of times it's being hit from every single direction. We just don't know where to turn, what to do, and how to manage it. We find ourselves behaving in ways that we might think, why did I do that? They didn't deserve that. Or even children, the ways of venting their frustration. You're not listening to me, and have an outcry of passion, right? This can exhaust you and causes people to then withdraw, and your body needs to rebuild its reserves, right? We use these molecules for energy, for charging our cell, and for cell communication. And when we have stressful things happen and we feel overwhelmed, we get what's called an emotional overload. And it's basically just sucking out the potential in your cells. So imagine your phone went from fully charged down to 1 bar in a matter of 15 seconds. Well, that's what a stressful event can do to you. It makes you pull in all resources to deal with my brain and my heart right now. And so your limbs will feel heavy and weak. You will be unmotivated. You'll go lay down and just let your body recharge, right? And so how we deal with that is going to affect, again, what hormones are we producing and how many free radicals are we spinning off right now because of this stress. So that means we need more antioxidants. It's a whole full circle in the body's need, fulfilling the need, and then keeping us at homeostasis. Now, the good news is that inside every one of our cells, we're producing these molecules, and that gives us protection from within. And we charge our cell and get this force field to be really strong because, hey, let's face it, we're always exposed to heavy metals, to stressful people, to food that might not be the best choice food. All these things create free radicals and create stress in our bodies. But if our cells are resilient and healthy, we never get sick. We always have energy. We're We can always turn the mood around in the room, inside our own self-talk and all of those things. So your body's only making as much as it can at all times. Now, sometimes it says, okay, slow down and reserve. We're going into sleep mode and let's flush out the brain and do all of those things. But for the rest of the day, 100% of the day, it's giving you 100% of whatever it has. It's not judging you for how you're treating it. It's just going to make the best out of what you're doing and what those circumstances look like. So to truly understand how it's all interconnected, we really need to take a minute and just review some things about brain cells. Now, out of all the cells in our body, these are by far the most highly specialized cells. They demand the most oxygen out of any other cells in the body, second to the heart. They are using 20% of your blood, but it's only occupying 2% of your body weight. So we're the only animal or species on the planet that has that ratio. And it's the highest metabolic activity out of anywhere in our body. Okay. And so what I mean by that is how many mitochondria do we have? That's where we go through the Krebs cycle and make energy out of food and oxygen and energy and redox molecules. That's what the cells make going through the mitochondria. So in our gut, those cells are replaced every few hours to every few days. We have about 3 mitochondria per cell. Very easy to reproduce that. When we get into our muscles, a few hundred to 1,000. When we get into your brain, it's 2.5 million mitochondria. Okay, your heart is the next closest one, and it has 8,000 mitochondria per cell. So the mitochondria are producing your metabolism. It's making energy for you. It's determining the metabolic rate. So in our brains, we got 2.5 million of these mitochondria. We make the most waste. So we have to be able to get rid of that waste as well. Otherwise, things don't communicate right. Okay. And so highest oxidative stress. And so that's another reason why we love this supplement, because it also comes in a gel that you can rub right on your neck and it goes straight through your blood-brain barrier and it helps your body deal with oxidative stress. It's the exact same molecules that your body's making to do that. So the brain can be very vulnerable to toxins because of that. We have a blood-brain barrier that protects those toxins from getting in, but they always seem to find a way because of the amount of things that we're exposed to. So they're the slowest to replicate. They're going to heal as much as they can heal, and if they can't, they'll just destroy the cell. But the only time you're ever going to grow a new brain cell is when you're learning something and you're really trying to learn it. And so be a forever student, and you'll always be growing more brain cells. So when we talk about redox in the brain, okay, well, this is one of the main ingredients that we need to help our brain function and help the nerves actually communicate. So part of your brain has a message to send, it creates the message, and then it uses redox to send it to the receptor. And as it goes through the junctions, like you see here in the picture, redox is what's responsible for telling it to release, actually help carrying it along, cleaning up the receptor on the other side so it can actually connect and function at the time you need it. That's what's so important for hormones and neurotransmitters. Some people just don't make them at all. Some people are making way too much, and then some people are just not timing it right. Any one of those 3 options are all just an imbalance of redox. So you have too many oxidants versus antioxidants present at the same time. If these balances become imbalanced, it's going to be linked to all sorts of neurological and psychological conditions like your anxiety, your depression, and cognitive impairment. So we know the longer we live, the more things we've been exposed to, and the harder it is for our body to keep up with the repair because we're losing mitochondria every single year with age. And that's where we make our energy. So let's talk about that oxidative stress and emotions. As we talked earlier, when you have emotions, it can lead to a massive increase of oxidative stress throughout your entire body. Every cell feels your stress. Every cell goes into survival mode or panic mode. And so it's going to trigger the release of other free radicals and the pro-oxidants, okay, antioxidants and pro-oxidants, which disrupts the balance between all of that. And so we think of our antioxidants is what's really going to help regulate our mood. So these are the molecules that neutralize that free radical or that toxin. So think of it like all the toxins have a positive charge on them. And so they're running around, and anybody they're bumping into, they're damaging it a little bit. So an antioxidant comes in like the sheriff, and he's got a whole belt with negative charge molecules on it. These are the redox molecules that he needs to neutralize that guy. So he'll just pull it off his belt, slap his hands together and with the toxin, and then it immediately gets neutralized, and then it goes inert. It has no harmful effect on us anymore. If we don't do that, a lot of these toxins being positively charged, they need a resting spot. So we're either going to strip calcium from the bones to help make those redox molecules and antioxidants, or those metals are going to go right into the bone because the bone's negatively charged, right? Your entire lining of your vascular system also negatively charged. It's the grounding mat for your body. So our cells are always charging themselves, like we said. When we eat things like plants and vegetables and lean meats, we actually make a bunch more redox. We make a bunch of energy, and that helps us sustain, and it literally charges our batteries of the cell. When we eat poorly, it's going to immediately just start stripping that battery away, and then we can't get the nutrients out of it that we're looking for. So we're scavenging, and we're going to get whatever we can. And then usually we save that for a rainy day because we don't know when we're going to get another one of these vitamin Ks or whatever it is. And so it technically is costing us more energy to break down junk food than it is that we're making out of it, than we're getting out of it. So that's important when we talk about our moods. Do you want to have reserve? Or do you want to be very vulnerable and be a short fuse that makes it so easy to go off the rails and be upset over something minuscule and even little? We've all done that because our potential was low. And when the potential is low, it's hard for us to function properly and think properly and behave properly. So when our diets are rich in all of these things, the antioxidants, then it gives us all sorts of resilience to have homeostasis and have less stress. And so when we talk about what does less stress mean, well, there's three things that we just need to always be conscious of to keep things in check and keep our check balanced. Number one is replenishment. We have to be replenished. Your body is using water, it's using nutrients, it's using all of these foods and everything to make energy. If you're not putting replenishment back in, things are going to start to malfunction and slow down. We also talk about antioxidants. Now, we can just get it from our food, or we can take the best food supplements, the best of science and nature, and have them in a form that we know how much we're getting, and we're getting consistent amounts of them. I've been supplementing since I was 7 years old, and every day I have my handful of supplements, and I'll look at it and be like, this is my life insurance. This is what my body truly needs to thrive today. And the rest of the day, I'm just going to avoid toxins and try to eat clean. But I know that I'm getting my nutrients and my antioxidants from my supplements. And then we need to have what's called adaptogens. An adaptogen is something that can go either way. So when we talk about a medication, they're not adaptogens. They have a specific function to target a specific receptor on certain types of cells and cause it to do a very specific function for a certain amount of time. And that's how medicine works. It drives you. Now that can save your life. It can keep your vital signs, more normal. But it doesn't heal you. It doesn't teach your body how to make more of that so you don't need it. It just helps you maintain health. And the number one goal in health is your vital signs have to be in the normal range for you to be what's called homeostasis. So an adaptogen is something that can target a cell and give that cell the ability to go either direction. Turn it on, turn it off, increase it, decrease it. Okay, it allows you to adapt to what your environment is demanding on you. So we have three main recommendations to make all of that and give you the best potential that you have moving forward through the craziness of our lives. The first is this supplement called redox signaling molecules. It's the exact molecules that are inside all your cells, literally driving the function of your cells. Think of these as the letters that make up the language that our cells use to communicate. Um, and not just communicate, but to be understood and have it be a two-way street as far as communication goes. We're losing 10% of these every decade. So however old you are, that's the percentage that you don't make anymore. And so it's awesome that we found a company, the only company in the world. This is the very first and only redox molecule supplement. And the company is, I believe, 16 years old now. Um, it's the only company in the world that can stabilize these. These are just a single molecule, oxygen, hydrogen, sodium, chloride, chlorine. These are ones that are very high in the periodic table for the least amount of electrons that it takes to make them. And so they're fleeting. It's like a spark. It's just going to be bright for a second and it's gone. So the fact that we could keep it, it's like me grabbing a spark from the campfire and saying, I'm going to go start a fire with this next week. And they're like, how are you doing that? That doesn't physiologically happen. That's what they did with this. It's also like putting hot and cold water in the same cup and these stay separate. It's amazing. And the more you learn about these molecules and the more that you realize when we say native to the body, that means that your body makes these. So it's impossible for it not to work for you. And as we mentioned in the beginning, that you won't even live 3 minutes without making these for yourself. And so the ones that you're making, it's on demand. You're making it, it's used, making it, it's used instantly. We don't ever store these. And so we know the maximum output we could do, and during the stressful times, it's going to take every bit of it from everywhere. And then you're going to be slow in those areas for a little bit, or weaker, or have dysfunction because you need these to communicate. And so supporting our nervous system with this is going to strengthen it, and it's going to help these molecules know exactly where they need to be. So you take a 2 ounce serving of this, keep it in your mouth for 30 seconds. And within the first 15 seconds, 85% of those molecules are already absorbed into your bloodstream and running through your body, helping neutralizing, fix this and balance that. It's what your body's sending everywhere to do that exact same thing. So we're in essence just putting more workers into the field that's allowing us to get the job done faster. And one of the greatest things is we talked about antioxidants. Well, the number one antioxidant in your body is glutathione. You make more of that than any other molecule or than any other antioxidant. And they have studies that prove one serving of this will increase your glutathione output in your body by 800%. So that's amazing. A lot of people take a ton of supplements and it makes them top heavy. Like the glutathione is the fire extinguisher to go put out this little fire. The redox molecules is the fireman that grabs it and goes and activates it. And so we could take a bunch of glutathione or a bunch of antioxidant supplements and have a whole bunch of fire extinguishers. But if we don't have enough redox, they're not being used, right? That's called top heavy. So this is as far upstream as we can go to get to the root of how our body deals with any type of stress. And it's helping bring that resilience back to every cell. And when our cells have resilience, guess what? Our tissues do, our organs do, our whole organism does, because that's what we're made up of, all these cells. So then we talked about supplements and antioxidants. Well, CEA has an amazing antioxidant filled with these extracts and cordyceps, which is all the mushroom properties that has an amazing effect to be able to increase your antioxidant levels in your bloodstream by 32% within 30 minutes of taking it. And it's going to last for 24 hours. So this is remarkable to be able to have things that are actually a whole food supplement to where it's going to break down and easily be recognized and utilized and absorbed by your body and give you those antioxidants in case you're not eating all the different colored vegetables and all the different antioxidants that you're getting from your food. I always supplement first, and then I try to eat pure and clean second. And then the third thing was this mood adapter. We talked about adaptogens. This is different from redox molecules. Redox molecules are tiny molecules, high energy, that literally can pass through any cell wall, doesn't need a door, and it doesn't need a gatekeeper. It doesn't need a receptor and a socket to activate things. But these do. These are redox botanicals. And so these are very specific um, nutraceutical that's going to help bring the feeling of calmness. It's almost like taking your brain when you're feeling stressed and worked up, and it just puts it down into a lower gear so you're going the right speed for what's really happening right now. And it's not letting you run those RPMs up really high in your body. So these are involved in the protein production that's important for your body to actually make the hormones that we need to regulate our moods. That's why it's called a CM mood, right? Or redox mood. It's also going to support the production of the neurotransmitters like your dopamine and serotonin and happy, happy neurotransmitters to help uplift your mood. And then it has all of these other highly expensive ingredients, I would say, that are adaptogens. And so these are the ones that are going to help that mood kind of go either direction. If it's too sad, it's going to wake you up. If you're too stressed, it's going to calm you down. So, either way, adaptogens play a role to bring that cell and to bring your body back into homeostasis as quick as possible. So it doesn't have to just be mind over matter. I'm going to just shake this upsetness and this mood. And you say, yeah, how's that working for you? It's not like a switch you can just turn off. But between our redox and the antioxidant power and then these adaptogens for our mood, it just gives your body all the resources that it needs to be able to fuel those reactions and bring your body back to homeostasis as quick as possible. So we love these products. They make us happy, healthy. They give us strength and resilience and help us recover. So many people just don't take the time to recover. There's so many athletes that overtrain and they just don't have the redox potential to recover fast enough, and then they're training again. So, I mean, from the athletes to the mathematicians that are using their brain in ways to the musicians to everybody, we are all made of cells that need to have potential. The only difference between a healthy person and a sick person is the healthy person has potential in their cells. It's got charge, and the sick person doesn't. You can call it whatever you want. That doesn't mean it's never going to again. It means that we have to be better stewards to our body, to take responsibility for ourselves and gives ourselves the right fuel to get us the job done as quick as possible. We are all about helping patients get better faster and stay well. And these are amazing products to do exactly that. So thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.